Okay lads, it's great we're all together as the This Week team, even in these dodgy Andrews Army all expenses spared strips. I know there's a few familiar faces missing, but we can only have one left winger, and that is me. You're all motivated, I can see that. Now it's time to train. At the weekend, the stage was set for a clash more terrifying than a away game at Millwall, the G7 summit in Canada. Predictably, Donald Trump's imposition of protectionist trade tariffs dominated proceedings, but the match kicked off friendly enough with a bit of ribbing of the Canadian PM.
Justin has agreed to cut all tariffs and all trade barriers between Canada and the United States, so I'm very happy about that.
So I'd say NAFTA's in good shape.
But we are actually working on it.
But it was a game of two halves. Once Mr. President was safely on Air Force One, Justin Trudeau counterattacked with a threat of retaliatory tariffs. The US team cried foul and showed the G7 communique a red card.
There's a special place in hell for any foreign leader that engages in bad faith diplomacy with President Donald J. Trump and then tries to stab him in the back on the way out the door. And that's what bad faith Justin Trudeau did with that stunt press conference. That's what weak, dishonest Justin Trudeau did, and that comes right from Air Force One.
There we are. Donald Trump, like a good striker, unlike this lot, the This Week team, scores one goal. Like Harry Kane, he wants to score a second. So he is straight off to Singapore for his summit with Kim Jong-un. The North Korean leader and the US president got on very well. They signed a deal for nuclear disarmament, but there's no verification and no timetable. Some people are very alarmed about that. Right, lads, got to drop a blue nun for you, take away the orange. Come on, lads. Hey, guys, come back. Oi.
We will be stopping the war games, which will save us a tremendous amount of money, unless and until we see that the future negotiation is not going along like it should. But we'll be saving a tremendous amount of money. Plus, I think it's very provocative.
Back in the UK, a 24-hour vigil was held to mark the first anniversary of the Grenfell Tower block fire. In a powerful interview with a Grenfell supporters group, the Prime Minister recalled visiting the site.
I didn't, of course, on that first visit, meet members of the community or survivors. And I'm sorry for not having met them then. I regret that because I think people perhaps felt that they wanted those of us in power to know that we had understood and recognised what had happened, and perhaps felt that not meeting them immediately meant that I didn't care, and that was never the case.
The government's centrepiece EU withdrawal bill was back in the House of Commons for a 2-day kickabout. The Prime Minister predictably had to fend off shots from the opposition and our own side. Remainers wanted to take control so Parliament would decide what would happen if there's no deal with the EU. The government was confident of defeating a Lord's amendment until the unexpected happened. Justice Minister Philip Lee resigned.
Who? I urge my parliamentary colleagues to follow my lead and vote to give our great institution, this House of Commons, our constituents and our country the powers it needs to leave our children a legacy of which we can all be proud.
They want to reverse the result of the referendum, and nothing we do will be organised to allow a reversal of the result of the referendum.
During the debate, the Conservative whips were seen trying to twist the arms of Tory rebels to force them to back down. But eventually the government was forced to compromise, although the shape of that compromise wasn't entirely clear.
Well, the Prime Minister is very clear that we absolutely should trust her, and we do. And so we didn't have a chance because, as ever in Westminster, these things came down to the wire in the last 15 minutes before the vote to go through the wording in detail. But it was very clear. This is not just relying on assurances given in the House of Commons chamber. This is a personal assurance from the Prime Minister.
Prominent Tory Tom Tugendhat says if MPs vote to reject the Brexit deal, the government will collapse. Right. And at Prime Minister's questions, Jeremy Corbyn scored an absolute belter.
Mr. Speaker, when the Prime Minister met President Donald Trump last week, did she do as the Foreign Secretary suggested and ask him to take over the Brexit negotiations?
For her part, the Maybot attempted to exploit inconsistencies and divisions in Labour's position.
What we see is a Labour Party that said it wanted to do trade deals and now wants to be in a customs union that will stop that. They said they wanted to control our borders and now they want free movement. They said they would respect the referendum and now they won't rule out a second referendum.
All right, lads, it's my ball. Give us it back. Come on, come on, come on. All right. Those Labour divisions were laid bare on Wednesday evening when Jeremy Corbyn lost the dressing room. The gaffer saw 90 MPs rebel on the single market, that's a third of the parliamentary party, a shadow frontbencher quit, and 5 PPSs also resign. And this week the SNP was accused of a stunt when its leader, Ian Blackford, was booted out of the Commons and his team walked out in a row over how long was devoted to a debate on Scotland and Brexit.
Scotland's voice has not been heard. We have had changes to the devolution settlement that were pushed through last night without Scottish MPs' voices being heard. That's a democratic outrage.
Right team, that's it for today. We mightn't be ready for the World Cup, but we're ready for a blue nun bath. I hope Andrew's running it. It's coming home, it's coming home, this week's coming home!